One Zambia, one nation, with the main news at 19 hours on ZNBC TV. I'm Patricia Ellis Pumala, sign language interpreter is Samson Mwale. Look at the top stories in the news. 25 people perish in road accident. President Edgar is in New York for the 71st United Nations General Assembly. "33 councillors in the soccer district take oath for the office of councillor." And coming up in sports news, the Zambia National Cricket Union describes as fair Zambia's performance at the ongoing Under-19 Division 2 Africa World Cup qualifiers in South Africa. Join us with the details after this break.
We have a vision for Africa. It's why we're behind everything, from clean energy to investment, and can help you uncover billions in hidden trade opportunities. Our belief in Africa's future is as unshakable as yours. Here for Africa. Here for good. Standard Chartered Bank.
"25 people have died in a road accident on the Great North Road in Serenja district. Police Deputy Spokesperson Mwata Katongo and Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA Head of Public Relations Frederick Mbanga have confirmed the development to ZNBC News in Lusaka today. Ms. Katongo explained that the accident happened when the driver of a Scania bus carrying 69 passengers failed to negotiate a curve and flipped, killing 21 people on the spot. The bus was coming from Nakonde and headed for Kitwe. She said a combined team of traffic police, Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA, and fire brigade officers who rushed to the scene were also hit by a lorry laden with bags of maize, which was coming from Nakonde, and 3 of them died on the spot. The 3 officers that died are from RATSA, police, and fire brigade. Ms. Katongo said 4 officers sustained injuries but are in a stable condition and admitted to Chagwa General Hospital. Ms. Katongo added that the driver of the lorry did not stop after hitting the officers and is currently on the run. And acting President Rina is saddened with the loss of 25 people in a road accident. Mrs. Rina says the frequency of road accidents on the Zambian roads is of concern to the government. She says a solution needs to be found to curb the trend. Mrs. Rina says she is aware that there is a statutory instrument that bans public service vehicles, PSV, from moving at night. The acting president has since directed the Ministry of Transport and Communications to ensure the statutory instrument is signed so that PSV drivers are only allowed to travel between 06 and 19 hours. Mrs. Rina has since conveyed heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families on the tragic accident. This is according to a statement released to ZNBC News by the Senior Private Secretary in the Office of the Vice President, Ambassador Sheila Siwela. President Edgar is in New York for the 71st United Nations General Assembly. President Lungu arrived in New York around 13-18 hours Zambian time. The president is expected to attend a reception by U.S. President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle as hosts of the UN General Assembly. Bangwe Navile now reports.
New York in the United States of America becomes the busiest in the world as it hosts over 100 world leaders under the 71st United Nations General Assembly. The United Nations General Assembly high-level meeting on addressing large movements of refugees and migrants aims at bringing countries together behind a more humane and coordinated approach. The meeting has been necessitated because the world has witnessed an unprecedented number of asylum seekers, refugees, stateless persons, and internally displaced persons at approximately 60 million globally. Zambia has been a host of refugees for many years, resulting in President Barack Obama inviting President Edgar to make a presentation on refugees. President Lungu has since arrived in New York for the UN General Assembly. Zambia currently hosts over 70,000 persons of concern and is among the few countries hosting refugees, offering them full local integration. The head of state will speak at the UN General Assembly during a plenary session after official opening on September 19. The president will also attend a reception by President Barack Obama and his wife, Michelle. He will later address a U.S.-Africa Business Forum and meet Zambians resident in the U.S. before returning home on September 21st. Bangwenavile, ZNBC News, New York.
International Monetary Fund IMF Managing Director Christine Lagarde has assured President Edgar Lungu of the fund's continued support to Zambia. Ms. Lagarde says the IMF stands ready to continue supporting Zambia in every way possible through policy advice, technical assistance and financial support if needed. She says President Lungu is beginning his new term at a time when Zambia is facing severe economic challenges, including adverse effects of lower copper prices and electricity shortages. The IMF Managing Director has since wished the President success as he works to improve the living standards of Zambians. This is contained in a congratulatory message to President Lungu on his re-election as 6th Republican President, unveiled to ZNBC News by State House Chief Analyst, Press and Public Relations, Cecilia Mulenga. The Dag Hammarskjöld Institute for Peace and Conflict has commended President Edgar Lungu on his plans to institute an inquiry into the post-election violence. Professor Owen Sichone says Zambians deserve to know what caused the violence during the election period. He said drivers of the violence should be made known so that the law takes its course to avoid a recurrence of the violence in future. Professor Sichone was speaking to ZNBC News during the Ethnic Mobilization and Zambian Politics Conference at Copperbelt University in Ketwe. And Dag Hammarskjöld Institute for Peace and Conflict lecturer John Walia said it is regrettable that this year's general election were characterized by violence. Dr. Walia urged Zambians to desist from tribal politics because the country is bigger than regions. The Copperbelt University is holding a 3-day ethnic mobilization and Zambia Politics Conference, which has attracted intellectuals from within and outside Zambia. 33 councillors in Lusaka district have taken oath for the office of councillor. The 33 councillors were sworn in today by Magistrate Betty Malupenga in the council chambers in Lusaka. Inutu Mwanza reports.
Faithfully perform the duties that I will protect, preserve and defend the Constitution of Zambia.
I solemnly swear and declare that I take this oath.
One by one, they take oath. This is after having been elected as councillors in the August 11 general elections. This is the first time that councillors are taking oath of office, as is the requirement in Article 53 of the amended Constitution. Presiding Magistrate Betty Malupenga saw in the new councillors. Lusaka Town Clerk Alex Mwansa used the opportunity to offer advice to the new councillors.
The ethical context of the office of councillor requires that we discharge our duties in the interest of our communities. So even as you discharge your duties, you meet certain dilemmas, especially dilemmas or conflicts between your private interest and the interest of the public. There are a lot of institutions of local government that will be availed to you in terms of infrastructure, in terms of human resource, in terms of the Ministry of Local Government, in terms of Local Government Service Commission, all these institutional, local government institutional structures should be used to facilitate local development, not personal development.
And the councillors are ready for the task ahead.
Sanitation would be one of them. Clean water will be another one. Yeah, those will be the first projects. But there's a lot more. I would also like to just involve the citizens of the ward to see what is important to them and what do they want. Because I don't think that change will come about with me coming in the ward and telling them what needs to be done. So I need to work with the people.
Community, we are looking at the bars because Kalingalinga, I think it's too much. There are too many bars, and we just hope that when we start sitting, we look into the registration of the bars so that at least we reduce on the moral decays.
What is very important in my ward is water and sanitation. We have a problem with water and sanitation, so we'll look into that and finishing off the roads in Ngombe.
The city of Lusaka is faced with many challenges. These include poor sanitation, lack of water, poor drainages, and in many instances, indiscriminate disposal of garbage. The councillors that have been sworn in today in Lusaka have a huge task of ensuring that these problems that the Lusaka residents are facing are quickly addressed. Ingutu Mwanza, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
Just now we go for a break, but do join us for more news right after this. Thank you for staying with us. We'll continue with the news. Minister of Labour Joyce Simukoko has pledged to actualize various labour reforms in the country. Mrs. Simukoko, who was sworn in yesterday, has also pledged to enhance industrial harmony. She was speaking in an interview with ZNBC News at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport last night. Meanwhile, Mrs. Simukoko says she is humbled with the solidarity and support from the labour movement following her appointment as Minister of Labour. Mrs. Simukoko, who once served as Federation of Free Trade Unions in Zambia FFTUZ president, has pledged to support the labour movement in its aspirations to serve the interest of workers in the country.
A lot of workers have a lot of grievances, as number one. Their grievances are not effectively and efficiently handled. And I think you know that we also have unemployment in the country, and I would say that another part, maybe the employer may be taking advantage of the unemployment and then is not treating the workers properly. So we need to do a lot of research as Minister of Labour and find out exactly what is happening. We have also challenges of laws being amended but not being implemented by the relevant stakeholders who are supposed to do that.
Newly appointed Northern Province Minister Brian Mundubile says he will prioritise employment creation for the youth and women in the area. Mr. Mundubile, who is also PF Mporokoso Member of Parliament, says the province has vast opportunities for employment creation through tourism, agriculture and timber processing sectors. He has told ZNBC News in an interview in Lusaka that the forestry industry has potential to grow, but is limited by certain legal provisions that hamper the participation and benefit of the local people.
I want to concentrate on job creation, especially for the youth and women. So in looking at that, I looked at what as a province we have as a comparative advantage or comparative advantages. You realize that as a province, we've got a very good climate. As a province, we've got plenty river water, and the rainfall pattern, if you like, maybe the best in Zambia. At the same time, we have a lot of tourism assets within the province. You talk of waterfalls, you talk of wildlife, to name but a few. So we want to take advantage of our comparative advantages, and we're very excited that the programs that we started within the communities to do with farming are now going to receive attention from government. At the same time, we have looked at the forestry subsector. If you look at Northern Province, there's a lot of potential for timber and forestry products.
Newly appointed Patriotic Front Secretary General Davis Mwila says he expects all party members to be disciplined if the party is to achieve its mandate. Mr. Mwila has since warned against acts of indiscipline, especially related to violence. He says the Secretariat will be firm on instilling discipline because the ruling party needs to lead by example. And Mr. Mwila has extended an olive branch to all former PF members who have joined other parties. He said this in an interview with ZNBC News in Lusaka.
We expect discipline in the party if we have to achieve what we want. So we expect all our members, that is from the province, the district, the constituents, the wards and the branches. We don't want our members who are in discipline. We want discipline, especially when it comes to the acts of violence. That, as a secretariat, will be very, very, very firm on that.
Newly elected independent member of parliament, Mwenya Munkonge, says he will fully engage the government on modalities of fast-tracking development in his area. Mr. Munkonge says Lukasha constituency has huge potential to attract investments in various sectors of the economy. He, however, says several schools, health facilities and road projects need to be completed in an effort to boost economic activities in the area. Mr. Munkonge noted with concern that the poor state of some feeder roads has been a challenge in transporting farm inputs and agro-produce.
So the challenges in Lukasha that we have the structural challenges of providing good roads, decent water supplies, medical services. Currently, we are not able to receive medical services within Lukasha beyond clinics, and obviously we would like that to change and go above. And some of the projects that need to be done actually were started but have not just been finished, and we have quite a number of those type of projects.
We go for another break and we have more news coming up. Just stay with us. We continue with the news. The Bank of Zambia says policymakers have begun taking concrete steps to integrate the gender perspective in the sector policies. Deputy Governor for Administration Tukia Kankasa also says the policymakers have also begun making commitments and taking concrete steps to address the financial inclusion of women. Dr. Kankasa has further announced that the Bank of Zambia has completed the formulation of its 2016 to 2019 strategic plan with gender mainstreaming as one of its strategic objectives. She was speaking in Lusaka today during the Women and Money event themed Empowerment Through Financial Education. And International Monetary Fund IMF Managing Director Christine Lagarde said enabling women to borrow for investment can empower them to be active participants in the formal economy. This was said in a statement read on her behalf during the meeting. Newly appointed Zambia Revenue Authority Commissioner General Kingsley Chanda has resigned from Siltax and Nashati, a tax consultancy firm where he served as chairperson. Siltax Company Secretary Maxwell Nkoma says Mr. Chanda and his wife have both resigned from the firm following his appointment as ZRA Commissioner General. Mr. Nkoma has since assured the new state shareholders and directors will continue providing same professional service with no disruption in service delivery. He said this in a statement to ZNBC News in Lusaka today. And a trade expert has commended President Edgar for appointing Mr. Chanda as Zambia Revenue Authority ZRA Commissioner General. Gilbert Nkamba says Mr. Chanda has unmatched experience and professional competence to ensure ZRA generates enough revenue to spur development.
A tax consultant and an investment expert. He brings to ZRA a bank of knowledge. We have some expectations from the sector. We expect more stability in the mining fiscal regime. We want a robust but progressive tax regime which maintains the cost-effective operation of the mines At the same time, it keeps our brothers and sisters on the copper belt in employment. That is key.
The Zambia Bureau of Standards, ZABS, says it has quarantined 170 containers of substandard lion peanut butter from 4 provinces valued at 7,128 kwacha. ZABS head of marketing and public relations, Hazel Zulu, says inspections are being conducted around the country. Ms. Zulu says the inspections are aimed at ensuring that the product is removed from the market until the manufacturer is able to demonstrate that it is compliant with the Zambian standard. She has also appealed to traders to cooperate with ZABS inspectors as they conduct the countrywide inspections and advise consumers to desist from consuming the product. Ms. Zulu said this in a telephone interview with ZNBC News today. Lion peanut butter has been banned from the Zambian market following laboratory tests which revealed that it contains aflatoxins. Just now we go for a final break, and thereafter we come back with the rest of the news. Now the rest of the news. Minister of Foreign Affairs Harry Kalaba says Zambia will continue to cherish its bilateral relations with Japan. Mr. Kalaba says it is important that the two countries strengthen their ties for the next 5 years. Mr. Kalaba was speaking when the outgoing Japanese ambassador to Zambia, Kiyoshi Koinuma, called on him at his office. And Ambassador Koinuma said the Japanese government will continue to support various economic ventures in Africa. Mr. Koinuma said the Japanese government will not only accelerate business cooperation with Zambia and Africa as a whole, but also enhance cordial relations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, Japan is a great friend of Zambia.
The recently held TICAD meeting in Nairobi, where Japan gave Africa of $30 billion in different infrastructural areas of development, I think speaks volumes about the intentions of Japan to Africa. There is need for industrialized nations like yours and those that are developing like Zambia to be in sync. Because we are in one global village.
Japan will expand our business promotion with African countries. This is a priority one of the government of Japan. And at the inauguration speech of His Excellency President Rina, he spoke also the importance of the economic diversification and the importance of the foreign direct investment. And after the TICAD 6, Japan is already in a position to continue a very cordial relationship with Zambia.
Attorney General Likando Kalaluka has implored COMESA member states to strictly adhere to the fundamental principles of the Regional Bodies Treaty. Mr. Kalaluka says the observance of the rule of law, accountability, economic justice and popular participation in development are key to actualizing COMESA's goals. Officiating at the opening of the 19th COMESA Ministers of Justice and Attorney Generals in Lusaka this morning, Mr. Kalaluka urged participants to discharge their mandate with diligence. And COMESA Assistant Secretary General Programs, Kipiego Sheluget, said the meeting will also look at appointing a candidate for the position of Principal Judge and Judge of the COMESA Court of First Instance after the demise of Justice Andrew Mtema, who was at the helm. Dr. Sheluget has also congratulated Zambians and government for holding peaceful elections and the successful inauguration of President Edgar Lungu. And COMESA Court of Justice President Lombechibe Sakunda has revealed that the court has stepped up its publicity activities among member states.
You also have to focus on the aims and objectives for which COMESA has been established. That is, to attain sustainable economic development for our people through the transformation of our economies, which are largely agro-based. To this effect, I would like to encourage you to address the issues before this meeting with a view to enhance the regional market for the private sector so as to be able to do business, so that they're able to do business with ease.
During our upcoming meeting in Madagascar, in Antananarivo next month, on the agenda of the COMESA ministers will be the issue of domestication of COMESA instruments.
The court also has held a third publicity seminar in Madagascar. These publicity activities will translate into more workload for the court. And I'm glad that 2016 has seen a lot of activities of the court. In fact, it's been so much busy that every week, more or less, or every month we meet as a court.
In sports news, the Zambia National Cricket Union has described Zambia's performance at the ongoing Under-19 Division 2 Africa World Cup qualifiers in South Africa as fair. Union President Ruben Chama says the team is competing at international level for the first time. Chama says Zambia has so far played 5 of its 6 scheduled games, lost 3 and won 2. He says the Under-19 national cricket team will play a quarter-final game against Botswana on Sunday. Chama says despite not performing well at the tournament, the Sunday game is a must-win because it will determine if Zambia remains in Division 2 or is relegated to Division 3. He says participating at the tournament is a great opportunity for the national team players as they have been given exposure. Chama says the team will now work to perform better at next year's tournament to move to Division 1 and have an opportunity to participate in the World Cup qualifier series. He was speaking to ZNBC Sports News in a telephone interview in Lusaka today. Now that sporting item brings us to the end of the news, but before we leave, let's recap on the top stories. 25 people have perished in a road traffic accident on the Great North Road in Zambia district. President Edgar is in New York for the 71st United Nations General Assembly. "33 councillors in Lusaka district have taken oath for the office of councillor. And finally in the news, the Zambia National Cricket Union has described Zambia's performance at the ongoing Under-19 Division 2 Africa World Cup qualifiers in South Africa as fair. On that note, we end the news at 19 hours. We'd like to thank you so much for watching. We'll be back with another news broadcast at 22 hours. I'm Patricia Ellis Pumulo. See you then.